think GTA San Andreas has the most interesting game map of the entire GTA series. Not only does it have 3 major cities that could each be used for a full game in their own right, it also has a diverse and lively countryside, with a whole stack of just normal towns to back that up. Oh, and did I mention this game came out in 2004? I was a tiny adorable child back then. All this goes to say that this will probably make for one hell of a population video for you, and one hell of a count for me. Speaking about counting, to estimate the population I will be counting all houses and apartments, and multiply that figure by the amount of people that live in each household. Let's start familiar with Los Santos. If the Los Santos of GTA 5 was the congealed essence of Los Angeles, then this Los Santos is the square root of GTA 5. At a third the size of its successor, the city somehow still has all the important parts, but somehow even smaller. It's still got the Maze Bank, that one famous beach, a severely neutered studio district, and of course, Grove Street. Yes, home sweet home. So basically every neighborhood from GTA 5 is still present in this graphically challenged edition of the city. And whilst this technological difference between the two games made it quite easy to identify what was what, it did give me trouble in other departments. Mainly the map being absolute ass. By not showing me buildings that were there, not showing buildings that were there, and most annoyingly of all, the map doesn't fucking correspond with my actual location in the game. Or the minimap for that matter. Why? Oh yeah, that's right. But despite these minor inconveniences, overall, I sped through the counting process. Of course due to my undeniable counting excellence, but also due to the power of fucking God himself, also known as cheats. Compared to GTA 5, in this Los Santos, there's an even bigger part of town that's just airport, seaport and industrial zone, which means this third is fully uninhabited. For the rest of the map, there seems to also be a lot of non-housing blocks, where the middle of the map in GTA 5 was, despite its many offices, an absolute hell to count. This iteration of downtown has almost no buildings that are not offices. Of course, the houses on the hills were very easy to count, and even these relatively dense parts were not that bad. Now, by far the most annoying part of Los Santos was this time around this little northeastern part. Partly due to the particularly dense building style, but mainly because these textures are really bad and hard to interpret. Also, there's just part of blocks that fuse into the ground here. What am I supposed to do with this? In the end, I decided that whole apartment chunks without any windows will not be inhabited by any reasonable person. If you then count all of this up, it makes for a shockingly high amount of housing units. There's nearly 5,000, which means a population of around 12,500 people. I'm actually shocked this is like almost as high as the population of GTA 5. Well, I guess there are very few areas with low density suburban housing, but still, Jiminy concrete jungle, that's a lot. But if you thought we were there yet, well, no. Of course, we still have the countryside. Now, luckily for me, this is not nearly as big or remotely as good looking as in GTA 5. And with that I don't necessarily mean the graphics difference, but more so the terrain design, which is absolutely terrible. I might be from the Netherlands, but I'm pretty sure this is not what a hill is supposed to look like. And this mountain just looks like it was taken from a 4-year-old's imagination. At least the forest still looks the same. With which I mean a grass field with horrifically pointy spikes. Somebody whispered the word tree over a couple of times. The only thing that's really cool about this map, and I do mean something that's really cool in the way that I would like to see this in GTA 6 please, are the many small towns that can be found here. Although I do have to have a little word with the person that counted this population before me, cause they're hilariously wrong. Over here I've got the population each town claims to have. And this is the actual population I counted. Yeah, these towns are really small. Next to these towns there's also the occasional trailer park or farmhouse, but these are statistically almost non-existent. In total, this makes for a population of 13,000, give or take. Which once again confirms these games do not need a lot of people to make a countryside feel like a lively countryside. And what's the progress so far? What? Luckily, when I started the count of Las Venturas, I immediately breathed a huge sigh of relief, because it's completely and utterly filled with the greatest collection of money-grabbing, Satan-worshipping bastards in the form of soul-sucking casinos. Now that sounds bad, but listen, this and the accompanying hotels do imply that the grounds on which these buildings stand do not hold any home addresses or any households, which means I don't have to count like 85% of everything. Let's go! And the few suburbs that do exist are extremely easy to count. The only thing that gave me a bit of trouble were the apartment complexes that looked like motels, but are for as far as I know not motels, at least not like the ones that look more like motels and, you know, claim to be motels. But there is something that is actually impressive about this city. You guys, you're not gonna believe this, but it's got a passenger train. And it stops at a station. Holy fuck. And yes, from the whole gigantic city in the desert, this is the one thing I'm probably most impressed with. What is predictably not very impressive is the total population count of the city. It's just a bit north of 3,000 permanent inhabitants. This and the fact that Las Venturas countryside has the most small towns, including this one, that actually looks kinda cozy, makes the city to countryside population ratio the least ludicrous of the three areas. Now on to the smallest and final city, San Fierro. Whilst this city might be the smallest in terms of square kilometers, it's by far the most densely populated, due to mainly consisting of a whole lot of these white neighborhoods. Actually, the developers were so happy to put this city full of these types of houses that for many blocks they just said, fuck logic man, grabbed their filler tool and just filled in the entire center with a windowless, completely cut off from the outside, apartment cubes. The part of San Fierro that were not just one white fever dream of fused together apartment cancer was actually pretty doable to count. But for some of these buildings, my usual strat of looking in the window to see which are apartments and which are offices was not a thing I could do because, well, they were just plain nothing. Also, especially in this city, there were very many parts of buildings that just don't have windows and are basically nothing but gigantic bricks, mainly due to those iconic San Francisco elevated streets. Also, something weird I ran into is that more than in any GTA game, the developers did not give a singular solitary fuck about the size of the windows they used. Moving on to something else I noticed, the developers have been suspiciously frugal with their roof textures. Look at how many are just the exact same concrete grey. And in general, I guess this game has a lot of copy-paste housing, at least in comparison to GTA 4 and GTA 5, which had almost none at all. I guess there's some benefit to long development time after all. But by this logic, I do expect GTA 6 to have the best designed map ever. In total, San Fierro fits right in between Los Santos and Las Venturas, with 11,000 inhabitants. The periphery of San Fierro is, however, the least populated, with only one of those small towns and just a drip of other houses. Now quickly before we go to the totals, I did not count offices and hotels, for obvious reasons. What I did count, however, are the odd trailer next to some farms. Now finally, the moment you've all been waiting for, the totals. In total, the map of GTA San Andreas has 11,000 housing units, with room for 28,500 people. Which means GTA San Andreas has a higher population than GTA 5. But still not even close to GTA 4. And if you were interested how we're doing throughout the series, well, I've made the very first game population leaderboard. Because, you know, we've had 10 whole episodes. What do you think of it? I think it turned out pretty good. and looks like the GTA series in general does score very high. Now, a quick update to close out on. You remember I talked a few videos back about having a new video idea? Well, I've gotten a bit closer to making that a reality. I think I'm gonna be ready either next video or the one after that. If you can't remember, or you just haven't seen that video that I was talking about this, it's something very close to the Population series. It's got a similar kind of build-up, but a way different premise, and I think it's a bit more interesting to a general public, instead of just people who like game maps. Either way, I hope you've enjoyed this video, thanks for watching, and hopefully see you for the next one. Bye bye.
Man, what's this? Shit look ridiculous.